Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's time for. This one won't be as grim either. Yet another alternate history. Not quite as grim. Not even close. I'm not going to destroy the world this time, I promise. In fact, we're going to avoid something horrible that happened in our time, in our lives, most of our lives. But we have to go back a little bit first. We have to go back to 1999. In August of 1999, Chief Justice William Rehnquist announces he's retiring from the Supreme Court. He's had some health issues and he just wants to go. He wants to go retire and live the rest of his life out without responsibility. So he does. And the seat needs to be filled by President Clinton. Bill Clinton's still president. And he taps this young Latina American, Sonia Sotomayor, as his replacement on the court. Now, she will not be the Chief Justice, because at the same time, he's going to promote Ruth, the first female Chief Justice. It won't be Sotomayor. It's going to be Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's going to be the Chief Justice. Sotomayor will just take her spot as Associate Justice. And those do go through early in 2000, both of them. And that's all you need to know about that for now. Comes in handy later. And so the 2000, of course, is election year. And of course, as you all know, I'm not going to change the people in the election. It's still going to be Bush versus Gore. I think you may know where I'm going with this. Maybe. You may. I just changed the court to 5-4 Democrat. You figure it out. Okay. Remember, it was 5-4 Republican in our timeline. And that was, put him in the White House. Well, I think he may have. To be honest, I think he actually did win Florida. But then, it took a Supreme Court thing to seal it. Whatever. I don't know. But I'm trying to try and make the election a little different in this one. It's going to come down to Florida. Oh, yes. It's the same players, by the way. Bush, Lieberman. What am I talking about? Bush, Cheney, Gore, Lieberman. Same players. Nothing changes there. The election, 99% of the election is the same. Well, about, in the 90 percentile, all the other 49 states are exactly as they are in our timeline. I'm going to skip ahead to, we're already at election day, by the way. There's no reason to go through the history. Most people lived it. You know it. And it comes down to Florida as it did in our timeline. But I'm going to have Gore win. And it's got to be, I don't know how we're going to do that. I mean, that's why I did the Supreme Court thing, because if it comes down to a court case and they order a recount, there you go right there. But I do want the actual count to be a little closer or something, so that it's possible for the recount to actually yield a result. And then it goes back to the court, and they vote 5-4 in favor of Gore. And then we're going to go from there. And that's what I promised at the beginning will happen. I don't. That's a flight of fancy, but we're going to do it. I don't care. So anyway, it comes down, when they stop counting the Wednesday morning after that, Bush leads Florida, and this is going to be this is different. Some ballots went differently. Some, I don't know, whatever. Different people did different things. By 99 votes. Okay. It is razor thin. Okay. And there is obviously automatic recounts happening, but the Florida Supreme Court tries to block them because they're Republican dominated. Because Bush has the lead, right? The leader, possession is 9/10 of the law, that bullshit. Which is kind of the same thing to me here. But, some counties do recounts, and there's changes here and there, a few. And it narrows. It really narrows. I gotta make this really convoluted. Okay. A week later, the unofficial count now has Bush leading Florida by 13 votes. Why not? Let's make this just freaking chaos. I'm going to get Gore in the White House somehow. And there are some absentee ballots that even accounted for yet. There's about 1,000 still, and they're still coming in, and they're legal. I don't know. I don't know if they would be really. I'm making them legal. I'm hand waving it. They're legal. They got to be still counted, and there's still a recount or two that, some one or two counties that have it, or precincts. Sorry, not counties, but precincts still have to do a recount, and they refuse. Okay, that's where the conflict is. And the Florida Supreme Court, again, acting illegally. Well, illegally, but, block those 1,000 absentee ballots from coming in and being counted. So they block that, and they block the two, they uphold the two precincts, one of which is it's a liberal part of Florida. Like Key West. Wherever Key West is, I don't even know the number, I'm sorry. And then the other one is, one big Tampa. Doesn't matter. A big city. It's going to be more lean liberal. They usually do. And they go back and forth. Lawyers from both sides go back and forth. The count stays at Bush by 13 votes. And they insist, man, we won this thing, man. And the Democrats go, are you kidding? I mean, you're leading currently? But there's still 1,000 uncounted votes out there. And there's these two precincts that, some things have happened. There's been some weird things that happened. And we want to recount those. They're the last two we haven't done yet. And it goes up the court chain. They keep denying. And then it gets to the Supreme Court on January 8th. January 8th. I mean, no, wait. I gotta back that up a little bit. We can't do that. That's too close. I don't want to do a thing where it pushes. No, we don't want to do that. That's too complicated. Sorry. This is gonna be. I'm doing this literally off the top of my head. Let's back it up. It's like December 15th. It's similar to our timeline, like that. December 15th. That gives it time to actually do these recounts and all that, and count those ballots. So it finally gets to the Supreme Court, the new one. Chief Justice Ginsburg, Sotomayor, John Paul Stevens, the rest. And they hear the case. Should we allow them to count those absentee ballots? And it's all going to be it's all going to be a package deal. Recount those two precincts that I named. It's a package deal. It's all one case. It's going to go either one way or the other. And of course, the Republicans now know they may be screwed. Although, they do realize that, let's say they do count the 1,000 votes and we come out ahead of them. We win. The precincts won't matter much. Because it's not going to change. No precinct really changed all that much. They might have, a 10-vote swing was about the most you could get, which would be huge here, to be honest. But with that 1,000-vote thing, I mean, if you can carry that by enough, it don't matter. It didn't matter. But the precinct swings, or the court, after hearing the case, and the lawyers, and we all remember those lawyers, I can't remember their names, I wish I could, they vote 5-4 in favor of the Gore campaign. They vote 5-4, so the recount will happen. The recounts will happen. The 1,000 absentee votes will happen. By law now. It is, the Supreme Court has ruled. It is now law. They have to do it. And so it happens. The two precincts first. There's a gain for Gore of a few votes is all between the two. He knocks it down to 9. 9 votes. And now it's all down to the absentee ballots. Basically, they're tied at this point. Okay, whoever wins the absentee ballots is going to win, unless somehow if that is within 9 votes, and for Gore, let's say, okay, or well, it could be 18 votes the other way, whatever. I don't know. There will be more court cases, but it turns out, and 1,000's a round number. Gore wins the absentee vote ballot by 300. He's elected. Bush And to Bush's credit, and I give him a lot. Well, he didn't happen, but I think he would do this. Seems like a classy man. At least his post presidency, he seems classy. He would call Gore, congratulate him, and say, "Good luck, Mr. President-elect," and he does. Finally, this is on December 28th or something. Now both sides have been planning a transition in case it happens. So it's not like they're behind. They've been planning this crap. And so January 20th comes and goes without a hitch. Al Gore won Florida by a similar margin to what Bush won in our timeline. But it was much more contentious, although, again, it ends with the same, magnanimousness. Yes, thank you. That ours did, because Gore did the same for Bush in that one. But Bush does it for Gore. And a lot of people seem to think that, hey, this guy, his lawyers, they pushed, because Bush led for most of this process and then lost, but was magnanimous about losing. People are kind of going, maybe not 4 years from now, but like 8 years from now, he might be viable again. It's unlike what Gore went through, because Gore was behind the whole time, and then the court just stopped the whole thing, and he lost. And he was magnanimous too, but, he didn't win. I don't know. We'll see. If we get to 2008, and we might, maybe we'll see that. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, Gore is sworn in on January 20, 2001. And it goes pretty much like our timeline did. There's not much different going on. Except for this one weird incident on September 11th. Now, yeah, I promised. Okay. It goes back before that, actually. It's gone back before that, actually. Our intelligence, the CIA, working with the FBI internally, but working by themselves overseas, and working with foreign, intelligence agencies, has found a plot by these rogue people from the Middle East, led by Osama bin Laden, that they were going to do a big thing in the U.S. sometime in September. They were going to try and hijack airplanes, it seems, and crash them into buildings. Specifically the World Trade Center, both of them. And then, they were going to try and hit the Capitol building, and they were going to try and hit the Pentagon. They had I don't know. They found this thing. I don't know. It took a while to figure this out. But we know. And then we find further thing, the CIA, and these other agencies find further things stating that the planned date was September 11th. And the cities where the airport, where they were going to, these 19 people, they found out it was 19. They found everything out somehow. And so that morning, there's a bunch of arrests at airports in the East. 19 people are arrested. It's a commotion in the airports. These people do not want to be arrested, obviously. I'm kind of acting like I don't know what 9/11 is, of course, but we all know why they wouldn't want to be arrested. Because they were planning to do this crap. This would have been cool. But they get arrested. No 9/11. We stop it with intelligence. I wonder how big a news story those arrests would have been. I don't think they come out right away. I think they keep it hush-hush. They were it's vague. They were planning a terrorist attack or something. Now, that's happened before. It happened later, too, after 9/11 in our timeline. Like, the one on the West Coast was going to happen, and we stopped that. That's kind of what happens here. We stopped them. No 9/11. September 11th goes by. Another day. Beautiful, beautiful day in New York. Nothing happens. The World Trade Center stays up, still there today, to this day. They don't try again. So now what? We're past that. Okay. I just eliminated 2 wars. Afghanistan and Iraq, which I don't think he would have gone to Iraq anyway. He probably would have had to go into Afghanistan had it happened. I mean, no president couldn't. There's no way, right? It's just the 2000s come along. The economy's okay. It's not the higher gas, no higher gas prices, or not much higher. They do go up generally, gradually, like all prices do over time. Inflation, historical inflation, it's been happening for 100 years, right? But not bad. And people just live their lives. It's kind of the era of good feelings, and there's partisan bickering between the two sides. Obviously, there always will be, but I think maybe this, I don't know, maybe this prevents the crap we're actually going through right now with this partisan crap. Maybe it kind of lessens it a bit, and it's kind of like it used to be, where yes, we oppose each other, but we can sit down and have drinks and be friends, just opposing each other. We vote against each other, we speak to each other on the rostrum and all, but I don't know, there's not a whole lot interesting other than the elections, which is always what I fall back on, right? You know me. So 2004, Gore runs for election. Now, I considered having John McCain beat him here, but I don't know. I think Gore will be reasonably popular, except that my rule about the 12-year wall. Now, maybe, I don't know. I think that rule is going to be broken here, because there's no reason to change horses. Things are going well. Gore's doing well. I mean, he's not the most charismatic man of all time, as most of us would know. And I don't know. I think he wins. He beats somebody. I don't know. I don't want to. I feel like McCain would beat him. I don't know. He beats McCain. McCain runs, gets a nomination this time instead of 2008. He wins. Gore beats him. It's a reasonably comfortable win. And we got, they get 4 more years. And then 2012, or 2008, I almost skipped again. Jeez. The second term, the economy starts to go a little sour. Like happened in our timeline, except that different things would have driven it, I feel. Because there's no wars going on overseas for us. It just, maybe it was bound to happen like the 1970s. I don't know. Towards the end of Gore's second term, it, maybe not quite as bad as our timeline, but the bailout stuff happens and all that. And see, I'm sorry for not going deep into Gore's policies and what he would have done or not done. I mean, he might have tried healthcare, but it wouldn't have worked, I don't think. But then 2008 rolls around, and Joe Lieberman is the front runner. Barack Obama does get elected to the Senate in 2004, like he did in our timeline, but he sits this one out to 2008. Because, in deference to Joe Lieberman, I mean, it's pretty much one of those things where, there's a few Democrats that go against Lieberman, but he's going to get the nomination. And most Democrats kind of feel like this is not going to be their year. The economy's starting to go south, like I said. It's been 16 years now, and it's time for a Republican. Guess which Republican? I foreshadowed this earlier. The one that honorably lost in 2000, even though he led 99% of the process, but did lose legitimately, by the way. It was legitimate, and he acknowledged that in his concession speech. But of course, George W. Bush. It's going to be George W. Bush running against Joe Lieberman. And Lieberman picks, good Lord, who could he pick? Oh, a Democrat. Hillary? Would she do it? Barack Hussein Obama. Perfect. You have a Jewish head of the ticket and an African-American vice president. Absolutely perfect. Perfect ticket. You're going to lose, but, at least it'll be respectable. I'll make it respectable. And then Bush doesn't pick Cheney this time. I mean, he doesn't, he picks, I don't know. You know what? He picks John McCain, who accepts. Bush McCain. There hasn't been like this Well, in 2000, yeah, there was a thing. But Bush, it's kind of a trying to bury the hatchet thing, you know? And McCain accepts. McCain's ready for a higher office, and he feels like, you know, if I do this, maybe we win. Maybe I can run again in 2016 and win the thing. He still think, he'd be gone soon after that, but he didn't know that. So Lieberman, Obama, Bush, McCain. The election's fairly close, and we're at the 20-minute mark already. I'm not gonna do this much longer. We're getting far afield a little bit, and not much has happened really, to be honest with you. And I eliminated 9/11, so what up? So Bush, McCain, do win. They win by 52-48, close, kind of close. It's maybe a state or a couple of states. They win by a couple of states in the electoral college. It's not like one state would flip it. Maybe two would, but it's a fair election, and all the losing candidates acquiesce, graciously. Bush, McCain are very gracious to the losers. They really are. There's nothing wrong with those people. And Bush actually puts Joe Lieberman on his cabinet, he offers him a spot in his cabinet as Secretary of State, which Lieberman respectfully declines, saying, I just don't think it would be right to be on that. Barack Obama just goes back to the Senate and made a good name for himself as a speaker. Man, he was of the four, he's the best speaker by far. McCain might be second, but... And so Bush, McCain in the White House starting in 2009. There's nothing going on in the world, really, other than the economy failing. And, I know that wasn't much. It was literally like a 10-year alternate history. And I don't know how plausible it was. But, I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up. I don't know. I had to do a video today. I did one. I'm happy about that. So, good. And I am OUT spells out.